Welcome to early game two-handed weapon build, you colossal bastards. This is good for early levels, but it truly comes alive between 40 and 60 due to some attribute requirements. Simple to play, easiest trash mobs clear rate you can have, does insane one-hit damage and has two competitive weapon options for different boss types. Links to gear locations are in the description. Main weapon is Brick Hammer with standard version of Determination Ash of War to boost that one nasty attack to massive numbers. In offhand we have any seal, not really sure which one would be best, but I have used Finger Seal and can't complain so far. Armor any, as long as it is on the heavier side with good poise and doesn't go into heavy load. Charms with Hammer are Star Scourge for increase of +5 to strength and X for 10% increased charge attack damage. Second setup is weapon of your choice, but needs to be faster than Hammer and not strike type weapon. Flamberge, or however you pronounce it, is my pick as standard pierce with flame version of Determination. Reason behind flame version is that it gives elemental damage that works great versus some bosses, and spell flame grant me strength that we use increases physical and fire damage, of which we do both with Flamberge. Oh, it also has blood loss buildup. Star Scourge charm can be exchanged here with something else because it isn't as beneficial. Something for damage negation, turtle talisman, increased stats, whatever you like. Main spell is Flame grant me strength to boost physical and fire attack power. Flask used is Opaline plus strength boost. Stats should look similar to this. Get strength high enough to be able to wield the Brick Hammer properly. While wielding weapon with two hands, strength is increased by 50%, so 22 strength minimum. Brick Hammer scales with B rank in strength, so we get decent increase in damage from it. Dexterity needs to be at 14 to be able to wield Flamberge. Vigor and Endurance are primary stats to level up further once Strength has been buffed enough. Strength 30 is more than enough at this point of the game in my opinion. Fate needs to be at 15 so Flame grant me strength can be cast. Couple points into mind wouldn't go amiss too. First and foremost, there is camera option that helps a lot when attempting to hit with large and colossal weapons. Versus enemies like dragons, go with manual aim when locked on, it works much better. Now to explain the build a bit more. Massive damage comes from two buffs, Determination and Flame grant me strength. Determination needs to be used before each charge attack because it works only for next hit and then disappears. Hammer is fantastic for breaking poise and opening enemies to critical hits. Even dragons can be brought to their knees when Hammer starts clobbering. Flamberge is your faster option for enemies resistant to strike type damage and some bosses that are difficult to deal with Hammer like Renala. People on stream helped me with info that any enemy that doesn't bleed upon getting hit is vulnerable to strike type weapon, which is Hammer. Just swinging charge attacks won't work though. When fight starts, Opaline helps with damage negation for that first received hit, and that is when you have to do the charge attack while being protected. After first swing we need to adapt more methodical approach and wait for enemies to pause their attacks briefly before using Determination and striking again with fully charged attack. In between charged attacks use jump heavy attacks and quick attacks until the opportunity for charged attack shows itself again. That is really it. Simple and OP in most early game cases. Enjoy, and if you find content on the channel helpful, check out Patreon and subscribe to our pages whose links are in the description. Stay tuned for more guides.